So today I'm going to try and make the perfect sunny side up egg. Most blind people I talk to say, oh, I just scramble my eggs because I can never tell when the yolk's going to be done, but they may not prefer that. So here's the technique I use to make a perfect sunny side egg. There's two tricks to this. The size of your pan is really critical. You want a pan that's no larger than what you want your destination egg to be. The ragged edges and stuff like that will spread out throughout the whole pan. So you want the pan to be fairly confined. This one is just smaller than the palm of my hand. So that is my first tip for making the perfect sunny side up egg. So I'm going to just preheat this pan a little bit. I'm turning my heat to about medium. And I've just turned the heat on underneath the pan. And now I'm going to add some butter. And you want quite a bit of butter because that's going to make it easy to take your egg out of the pan later. So I'm just getting a big hunk of butter here and putting it into the pan. And as I put it in the pan, I'm just swirling it around a bit on the end of my knife. There, scoop it off the knife now and let it melt. And I'm just going to grab an egg. And when you're cracking an egg, you're going to want to tap it on a solid surface. A lot of people say at the edge of the bowl. You don't want to do it on the edge of the bowl. That will push pieces of the shell into the egg and break the yolk. So I'm just taking the egg in my hand and tapping the side of the egg, not the tip, the side of the egg firmly on a surface. And you see I've got a little bit of a imprint now where I tapped. I didn't break through the shell. I just take the egg in both hands with my thumbs, push into that, pull apart, and drop our egg into the center of the pan. And now I'm going to get some seasoning. We have a favorite seasoning salt that we use on eggs. This goes really good on steak, but also is really, really good on eggs. And I'm just taking a couple of pinches of it, sprinkling it over the egg. And now here's my second part of the tips to the perfect sunny side up egg. I am going to just take from a bowl of water here, and this is just plain water, and I'm just splashing in with my fingers a little bit of water into the pan. You don't want too much, and putting a lid on it. And by putting the lid on the pan, you're steaming the top of the egg while the bottom of the egg is cooking, so it cooks evenly and you don't have to flip over your egg. Flipping over the egg makes it easy over. I actually don't like easy over eggs, but I've also never been able to perfect the easy over technique. And you notice initially we got a fairly heavy sizzling sound of the water, and all you want to do is wait till that sound dissipates a bit. So just listening to it about a minute and a half. Okay, our sound got a little bit more bass there, but it's becoming more even. It's much more consistent sound. Just going to run my hand over the top, and there's a lot of steam escaping, and that's okay. It means there's a lot of steam in that pan still. And as a blind person, if you run your hand over the entire, about 3 to 4 inches above the pan, you'll actually feel a physical little barrier. It's like you can feel where the steam is. You don't want to put your hand too close to burn it, but you just want to be able to feel literally right there is the steam. I can feel it with my fingers as I'm going through it. All right, so now the baseness has gone away, so I'm taking the lid off. And I'm just going to let that water dissipate a little bit. And we're going to lift up the frying pan now. I'm going to bring our plate here And I'm just going to take the frying pan and voila, the perfect sunny side up egg. You can serve this on toast. You can serve it with English muffins or just eat it plain. And I'm just going to do a second one here for you. Actually, what I'm going to do is show you that you can do 2 in the pan at once. But when you do 2, those 2 eggs will be served to the same person. They're going to be connected to one another. In a restaurant, I believe what they do is they do these on a griddle and they just put the lid over each individual egg and serve them up that way. I would never be able to aim that griddle. So I'm just going to grab 2 eggs now and crack them one at a time. Same technique. Try and put it slightly different. The shell cracked a bit more on me than I wanted. There we go. We'll turn our heat down a bit because it's getting a little hot. Sprinkle in my seasoning salt. Take my water. And put the lid on it. So that first one had the yolk a little harder than I tend to like it. So these ones I'm going to stop cooking a lot faster. And people will like their yolk different textures. So the sound has already changed on this one. Again, my heat might have been a little too high there. Just going to let that evaporate. Took the lid off. The longer you leave your lid on, the more your yolk gets cooked. All right, our sound is just starting to change there, so turning off my burner, pulling our plate into view here. Voila! You saw how the eggs just slid out of the pan there onto the plate. Use a non-stick pan and lots of butter. Put a little bit of water in, and you've got the perfect sunny side up egg. Enjoy. Please click subscribe and put something in the comments to tell me how you liked it. Thank you.